Now, don't be rustling during lessons. Does it irritate the teacher? Yeah.
Be good. We'll have to kick you out. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. I know you might want to hit the light switch there. Brother Dusty, would you hit the form, please? Thanks, sir. Perfect. There we go. Technology for the Rural Church, where I subtitled it there, how can they come if they don't know where you are? How can they know where you are if they can't contact you? I'm ripping off Paul there, Romans 10, actually, there. So
That sounds familiar.
Exactly. So, maybe. Hold on. No cookies. Try and do it that way. Maybe. There we go. I'm John Lloyd from Union Baptist, Mexico. We're just north of the Kingdom of Callaway there, about 5 miles outside of Mexico. So a rural church, upper 30s on Sunday school, 50s for world worship time. So it kind of gives you a context of who we are, what we are, and just kind of look at some of the stuff that we've done, what we've been able to do, and then hopefully kind of find out where you guys are at as far as your churches. And then I'll tailor things as we go, because some of this you'll be like, yeah, we got that, don't care about that. We'll blaze on through it. A little background on myself. I'm the worship leader there, Sunday school director, disciple training director. So technology falls underneath me as far as leadership of sorts. I have a tech team that does that, and I get, hey, quit working, and I'll work the bugs out and kind of thing. But for the most part, it's kind of handles itself. My background, I say I grew up in the golden era of technology. So in second grade, my first computer exposure was a Apple IIe green screen. You know what that is? And they had the 5 1/4 floppies. You know the actual floppies. And then of course we migrated to the 3.5 floppies. And somebody showed me a picture online. They had 3D printed they didn't 3D print. They actually found an old 3 1/4 floppy, and they showed it to the kid, and the kid goes, "Oh, that's cool. You 3D printed the save button." And they're like, "No." Of course, then we had CDs, USB drives, all that good stuff. My college degree, I have a Bachelor of Science in Electronics Engineering Technology from DeVry. So technology has been, I'm a computer nerd, geek, you know. So Josh and I, if you were in the AI class, I know some of you all were, Josh and I get along great. We can talk shop there with stuff. But that was kind of how I grew up. Kids today, I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old daughter, and they have grown up never knowing a world without a screen. I mean, think about that. You know, I didn't get my first computer until '95. We got one a desktop, Windows 3.1, on dial-up internet. We had dial-up internet literally until I graduated from college in 2005. So it was a year or so after that before we actually got high-speed internet, because it's Mexico. We're kind of a black hole. Yeah. So that's kind of, I understand the struggles of technology. And we still have churches that are still dealing with that. It's not necessarily a lack of desire, it's a lack of availability. So what we did at our church, COVID, we never missed a Sunday. When we shut down, we never actually not had a service. Now, we went remote for 3 weeks, and then we went drive-in after that. But that first Sunday, we literally did a live Zoom Sunday school class, live Zoom worship time, simulcast that to Facebook, and then brought in our pastor from Ashland, fed his stream in. You know, I'm running this out of my dining room. I learned a lot of stuff really fast. There's a lot of late nights trying to figure out how this was going to work and make it all plug in, and it worked. We've learned a lot of things since then, and now we've streamlined some things, and hopefully my goal is to give you guys some tips, some tricks, some of the resources that we currently use. Everything we're going to do here is either free, because churches like free, or low cost or one-time cost kind of deals. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. If you have any questions anytime, raise your hand, holler, whatever. So the first question is, why do we want to get connected? We're going to be looking at getting connected to people, getting connected online, and then social media. And I wish James would have been here, because he kind of would have fed into this from the social media website angle on things. That is not my wheelhouse. I run my own website for my company, but I do not use that as an example. It is not a good website. But I know my way around some stuff and kind of get some answers. But James would have been the go-to on that kind of stuff. So the question is, why do we want to get connected? Got a little video here. AI did not make this, although knowing this, for those who were in the AI class, Josh just typed in some things, and a 5-minute video popped out from AI, which is pretty cool. So this, however, is done by an animation studio who I do think probably does use some AI in their development. But yeah.
There's this beautiful poem. It's in the book of Isaiah. The city of Jerusalem has just been destroyed by Babylon, a great kingdom in the north. And all of these Jewish people, they've been sent away into exile, but a few remained in the city. And they're left wondering, what just happened? Has our God abandoned us?
Right, because Jerusalem was supposed to be the city where God would reign over the world to bring peace and blessing to everyone.
Now Isaiah had been saying that Jerusalem's destruction was a mess of Israel's own making. They had turned away from their God, become corrupt, and so their city and their temple were destroyed.
Yeah, everything seems lost.
But the poem goes on. There's a watchman on the city walls. And far out on the hills we see a messenger, and he's running towards the city. He's running and he's shouting, "Good news!" And Isaiah says, "How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news."
Beautiful feet.
Yes, the feet are beautiful because they're carrying a beautiful message.
What's the message?
That despite Jerusalem's destruction, Israel's God still reigns as king, and that God himself is going to one day return to this city, take up his throne, and bring peace.
And the watchmen sing for joy because of the good news that their God still reigns.
Now in the New Testament, we find this same phrase, the good news. It's the Greek word euangelion, and it's also sometimes translated with the word gospel.
And so when Christians say, "Do you believe the gospel?" they mean, "Do you believe the news?"
But not just any news. In the Bible, this phrase is always about the announcement of the reign of a new king. And in the New Testament, the Gospels use this phrase to summarize all of Jesus' teachings. They say that he went about proclaiming the good news of God's kingdom.
So Jesus saw himself as the messenger, bringing the news that God reigns.
Yes, but the way that he described God's reign, it surprised everybody. I mean, think, a powerful, successful kingdom. It needs to be strong, able to impose its will, able to defeat its enemies. But Jesus said the greatest person in God's kingdom was the weakest, the one who loves and who serves the poor. And he said that you live under God's reign when you respond to evil by loving your enemies and forgiving them and seeking peace. This is an upside-down kingdom.
Now Jesus also said that this kingdom was arriving with him.
Yeah, so for example, there's this really interesting story where there's a high-ranking Roman officer, and he comes to Jesus begging him to heal his servant. And he even calls Jesus his Lord, acknowledging that Jesus is his authority. Jesus praises this man for recognizing what no one else yet had, that not only was Jesus announcing God's kingdom, he was a king.
And so the word gets out that this Jewish man from Galilee is talking and acting like he's the king of Israel. He's appointing 12 disciples, which are an image of Israel's 12 tribes. He's healing people, forgiving people their sins.
And all of this so threatened Israel's leaders that they finally decide to have him killed. And Jesus let them.
Yeah, which is a weird thing to do if you're trying to become king.
That's right. But for Jesus, this is what had to happen. Jesus saw the sin and the devastation of his people Israel as just one small part of the entire human condition. How all humanity has rebelled against God, resulting in the tragedy and devastation of our whole world. And so how is God going to bring his reign over such a world? Jesus believed it would be through an act of sacrificial love for his enemies. This is why in the Gospels, Jesus' crucifixion is depicted as his enthronement as the king of the Jews.
Yeah, he receives a crown. He also receives a robe.
He's exalted up, not onto a throne, but onto the cross.
How beautiful are the feet that bring good news.
And the good news now is that Jesus has defeated death and that he reigns as king. That he's dealt with our sin and corruption himself and that he's conquered it with his life and with his love.
And then Jesus sends his followers to go out and keep announcing this good news of the upside-down kingdom.
And to invite everyone to give their allegiance to him, the king who defeated death with his love.
All right, so why do we want to get connected? We got the good news. That should be our foremost goal in doing this. We need to keep that in mind. Not because it's just cool, not because everybody else is doing it, but we want to keep that in mind. How are we using this tool? Just like, as Josh talked about the AI, it's a tool. It's a paintbrush. How are we using this tool to advance the kingdom? And so that's what we want to be looking at. So just kind of getting an idea about everybody here, where your churches are at and everything. So if somebody is seeking you, how are they going to be able to find you? So y'all got an email account for your church? Yes, everybody? Personal, okay. But there is a way somebody could email and get in contact with the church. Okay, all right. Phones. Everybody got phones at the church still? I know a lot of times that's going away. Text. Can they text you? Because I'll be honest with you, people don't like to talk on the phone. While I was sitting in here, I actually got 3 texts for work. A guy he called me, I didn't answer, and then he just sends me like he just hiccups all over my text there, and I got like 4 texts in a row with him. And lastly, are you on the web somewhere? Facebook. Okay, perfect. All right. Believe it or not, there are churches in our association that there is nobody in their church that has online access, at least as of a couple years ago. And so, again, not necessarily because they don't want to, but they may not be able to. So, free email. Again, I like free. Who doesn't like free? It's great for church budgets. If you have a free email account, it is not linked to a specific internet provider. When we got our lovely blazing fast dial-up internet in 1995, it was my dad, and so our email address was baloyd@ktis.net, because that's who we got our internet through. It was Kingdom Telephone. And then when we dropped that, went to AT&T, guess what happened to our email account? Bye-bye. Then we got bloyd68 whatever, at sbcglobal.net. And then we switched from that to Starlinks, where we're at now. We had no internet, or no email based on that. We'd already switched to a free email account. And so everybody thinks Gmail. There's Yahoo still out there, I think exists. I used to have a Hotmail account. Apparently it's still in existence because I work for somebody and I emailed them at hotmail.com. I was shocked there. But everybody kind of predominantly thinks of Gmail, Google. Google rules the world kind of thing. Gmail's got a lot of other packaged products that come built into it, whether you realize it or not. We'll talk about a couple of those. One of the bad things about Google now is Google is not a technology company. Google is an ad agency. Their business is selling ads. They happen to have technology to enable them to do that. But that's their primary focus. Same thing at Facebook. Zuckerberg, testifying before Congress, said, "Congressman, I sell ads." So realizing everything you're doing on that, you're feeding into the ad agency idea of things. So Google is reading all your emails. Just understand that. And then you're going to get ads based on the emails that you get and send. An alternative to that, Proton Mail. So it is a encrypted free email account. Offers similar things to Google, not the full package that Google products have. We've switched to that is where we monitor all of our like our Facebook and YouTube accounts are all now loading through Proton Mail. The nice thing about it is an encrypted email account. So if you lose your password, this is the one warning with it. If you lose your password, you can reset it, but all your emails that were under that old password, they're no longer accessible. They've been locked out because they were encrypted with your original password. You find that password, you can access your email again. They are based in over in Europe, and so some of the privacy rules over there are a little bit different than over here. And they actually can have some element of more privacy with these kinds of accounts. So it's definitely another option if you want to move away from big tech. We've kind of started looking at alternatives at our church, simply because if you're using YouTube, if you're using Facebook, I promise you someday you're going to go to Facebook jail. That's just going to happen. Your pastor, or you may say something from the pulpit. We got put in Facebook jail for something we posted like 3 years earlier. I don't know what it was. I didn't go back and look either. It was like, oh, we've taken your post down. Oh, cool. That makes you happy. I don't care. It was 3 years ago. We don't know what we said. But who knows? But somebody saw it, complained, and went Facebook jail. So we're looking at some alternatives on that. We'll talk about some of those as we come up. Phones. You mentioned, and this might be something too, having a email account that's not a personal email account. And like ours is Union Baptist Mexico Mo, I think. I don't know how to look it up. At gmail.com is the Gmail one. You know, there's about 4 of us that have access to that account, so it's not anything private, but that's where we keep, if you want to get like order confirmations, stuff like that. But it's also the first point of contact if someone wants to email the church, it goes to that email. And then we can take that and then it gets sent to whoever needs to deal with it. So it gives you some of that separation between your private email and things. Google Voice. So some of our churches, the pastor's phone number is the phone number for the church. And Google Voice allows you an alternative. If you have a Gmail account, did you know you have a Google Voice phone number? You already have an extra phone number. You don't even know it. All you have to do is just activate it effectively. I say localish. You get a bank of numbers. That's wherever Google, I guess, has grabbed them from. You know, so it may not be in the same area code, but in all honesty, today nobody cares. You know, I get emails, I get phone calls from people all over. It just happened to where their cell phone number came from. Free texting, it allows you to have texting now to that same number. Privacy, for me, this is one of the bigger things. Again, if you're using your personal phone number as the church point of contact, or even as the primary contact for your church, you've given everybody out your personal phone number. And you may not want to do that. You may not be want to publicizing that. I know it's weird to say, you know, well, we want to be open. Sure you do. You want to be open, but also control your privacy. There needs to be some walls up on that. And Google Voice allows you to do that because it's a portable number as well. Anybody with the logins on that account can access that Google Voice number. You can have that linked to your, or as many phone numbers as you want. So literally, if you wanted a first point of contact for your church, it could be the chairman of your deacons if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be the pastor at that point. And the other thing, and I know for some of this it doesn't make sense for you all, but for some of our churches, what happens every 3 to 5 years? Sad to say. They get a new pastor, yeah. You know, and so guess what happens to if your pastor's phone number is the church's phone number? There goes your point of contact. Has to change. This doesn't have to be the case utilizing Google Voice. That's what we use at our church. Previous pastor, when he went elsewhere, when Terry left, then we were able to just transfer to our interim. When he left, we transferred to Pastor Rich. And so the church's number never changed, but who answered the phone did. And if you got bivocational, I mean, the pastor's working during the day, you can have the chairman of the deacons answer the calls during the day, and then evenings it switches to the pastor. So lots of flexibility with Google Voice. Text alerts. Like I said, people don't like to talk on the phone, they like to text. Remind is a great product that we use at our church. It was primarily built for schools. Teacher can send out a group text to everybody. You can go on, it's a free account for the basic account, which is what most situations are. But you preload, everybody opts into it. When they get a text when you create the text message, you send it out, and it email blast or text blast everybody on that. You can see who actually received that. You can see who signed up. And so for our church, we utilize it for the prayer chain. Because has anybody ever killed anybody on the prayer chain? Like they started with, they broke their ankle, and by the time it ended, they died. You know what I'm saying? It happens. Because sometimes the story doesn't get relayed all the way it should across there. This eliminates that because everybody got the exact same message at that point. The other thing is, it can help with, you know, sometimes our prayer requests are more telling a story about something we know as opposed to actually a prayer request. Well, you can kind of consolidate that down because it's like, hey, look, I've only got so much space to send a text out. I cannot tell the whole life story. I just need to know Sister Sally needs some prayer right now because they're having some rough goes at work. That's all you have to say, and move forward there. So great for the prayer chain. By doing this, we literally make one phone call now for the prayer line. There's only one lady in our church that does not text at all. She's 90 plus years old, and her phone is just for if she breaks down on the side of the road somewhere. And she needs that because she goes all the time. Because usually when we call her for the prayer request, she's not home. She's out somewhere. She's amazing. But prayer chain, great for that. Announcements, again, quick reminders, that kind of stuff, works great for that. It can be bi-directional, where the individuals can text back and reply back to the group. We turned that off. Again, for prayer requests, we don't need to clog everybody's text box up with that. You know, so it's just one directional. If people do text back, it pops up in the app for the person who generated the text, but nobody else in the group sees it. Weather events, it's great. Cancel church for weather. Click, send out, done. We don't have to figure out what radio station we need to send it to. What about so-and-so? Does everybody get called? So now we send out one text, and then we make one phone call for our lady that doesn't text. Everybody have internet at your church? Okay, all right. Well, then I'm going to blaze through this part, because if you got it, what kind of internet you got? Okay, so you got fiber. Everybody on fiber now? Okay, all right. You might check to see if churches get a discount. We use Airlink, is who we've switched over to at our church, and we get 50% off. So we're paying less than $40 a month for high-speed internet. I know not every place did that. We didn't know they did it. They volunteered it and said, "Oh, you're a church, so have 50% off." We're like, okay, not gonna complain at all. Yeah, if you don't have fiber, it's probably running through the front yard of the church. Starlink, if you are me who lives in the technological black hole, my office is in the city limits. I can walk a quarter mile in any direction and cross a fiber line, and I can't get fiber. Yeah, and it's not like I'm all by myself. There's like 20 other neighbors, and no, thing says, sorry, you're outside our area we're going to service at the moment. So we use Starlink. It's great. If you got a clear view of the sky, you can get internet, and it's good. We use that out at Cedar Crest, the church camp, and yeah, so we get anywhere from 50 megs up to 250 megs a second is what our rates run. If you know somebody, and I speak specifically about churches or organizations like that, if you know of somebody who does not have internet that would like it, Starlink, it's expensive. It's $120 a month, but when nothing else works, it does. I do have a panel that is available. Individual said that for a donation to church camp, you could have the panel, so, and the equipment. So if you know of anybody, get them reach out with contact with me. So cell phone hotspot. If you got a cell phone in your pocket, you got an internet available. Okay. Even if you don't have a hotspot plan on your phone, there is an app called PDA Net Plus. You have to pay for it. It's a one-time buy. It's less than $10. That's what I use all the time. And it allows your phone to be a hotspot, even if you don't have hotspot turned on. So a lot of times hotspots run from $10 to $20 a month. To add it to your plan, 1 month, and you've now got hotspot access on that. So, and if you have internet at your church, do you all do Wi-Fi to the congregation? Limited. So here's the challenge: can you use that as a ministry tool? So when COVID hit, we had Starlink, and again, where we're at, internet was. There was a lot of people when COVID started off that did not have internet, and we got on early with the Starlink. I put us on the list probably a year before we actually got it. So we'd already had Starlink up and running at the church before we switched to fiber, and yeah, we were right on it, and then we were able to utilize that during COVID. We set up a free Wi-Fi access for the community, and we put on Facebook, said, hey, we know a lot of kids don't have internet at home. So from 8 in the morning to 9 p.m. at night, you can sit in our parking lot and use our internet. We had a lot of people who work from home. They said, hey, we don't have internet. We're just going to go virtual. I'm like, how many Sunday school classes do we have? You can social distance. Come into your office. This is now your office today. You know, we've got restrooms, we've got the kitchen, you got your break room, you're good to go. And so we're able to utilize that to be a ministry tool for our own congregation. So that's my challenge. If you got Wi-Fi access, especially in the rural areas where maybe not everybody has internet, can you utilize that as a ministry tool? Landlines. Do you still have an actual physical landline coming to your church?
We still do. We're debating that. We still do.
Is it really a landline or is it a digital?
Well, ours is through the internet.
Calibrite?
Yeah, it's
So you have voice over IP.
It's, yeah, it's not a true landline.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the kind of the route to go is voice over IP. There can definitely be a major cost savings on that. For an example, we used to pay out at Cedar Crest, we were paying about $80 a month, plus so much, because it was a business line, had to be a business. And a lot of times phone companies view churches as businesses in that aspect. Plus then we paid so much per minute, above that. So our phone bill was like, yeah, $70 a month for nothing, to not use it, 9 months of the year for the most part. And then when we had groups coming out there, we'd go jump up to $110 that month, because all the phone calls. Because kids would be homesick, want to call mom or health stuff. We switched over voice or IP. Our phone bill is now $7.95 a month. So a major cost savings on that. If that's something you're interested in, talk to me. That's what I set up in my own shop. I've got some resources on that. It's very easy to do. You can actually link it in to your cell phone and make it portable, so it doesn't have to be on site. If you do switch over to voice over IP using a different, not through your internet provider, but somewhere else, you will need to buy some different phones or some adapters, but it's totally doable. And now you can sometimes include texting. So you can actually text me at my office line now, and I can get the text. So you get that included in many times as well. So again, got any questions on how that works, talk to me afterwards.
You do troubleshooting on VoIP? We get calls into our church and it sounds like a fax machine has picked up. And so we can't hear the person on the other end. So I say, I'll call you back. Hang up and then call them back.
So who is it through?
Straight Talk Wireless.
Straight Talk Wireless, okay. So it may be an issue. And what kind of phones are you using? Do you know?
They're, I don't know. They're cordless office phones, so we've got 4 receivers, or one receiver, but 4
units. Do you know if it's a straight voice over IP base station, or is it still old school landline that's being converted?
No,
it's voice over IP.
Yeah.
So
it has to be by a window because it receives a cell signal.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So probably it's an issue with the cell link is most likely where it's at. So on that.
We're trying to explore options.
Okay. Yeah. Call Centric.
Centric.
Call Centric. CALLCENTRIC.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what. So for again, I do not do this professionally because I don't have time, but I'll help out a church or something like that, organizations. I set up the one at camp and I just run my own. But my phone bill was like $180 again, commercial account, and that was 2 phone lines. I switched now to I've actually got 4 lines, and I pay $29.95, and I have texting. So, and I have like 1,500 minutes that I can use. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's possible out there, what you can do. So yeah, hit me up and I can kind of give you some more particulars on that. So
Okay.
again, any questions on any of this stuff as we're going? I'm kind of trying to push through quickly on some of these things, especially stuff you've already got to deal with. But keep it in mind if you run into somebody else who has a situation. So, all right, streaming. We'll look at some of the sites, the requirements to do it, and there's some ethical concerns that come along with that. So, when I say streaming, what is the first thing you think of? Most likely.
YouTube.
Okay, you think of YouTube? Facebook? Oh, there's the first 2 on there. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube. Actually, just so you know, we are actually streaming this right now to YouTube. So, I'll give you guys the link. So if you want to watch this again for your viewing pleasure or you can't sleep at night, I'll give you the link to go to on YouTube. So it's out there. But yeah, assuming that everything is going through. Because it gave me a warning, said my speed's a little on the slow side. But it says it's still working, so it's all good. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube are your primary big 2. I told you we stream to 3 sites at our church simultaneously. We'll talk about kind of how we do that here in a minute. But there's some alternative sites. We utilize one of those, not Rumble. I should have flipped the order on this. Rumble is an alternative site. Again, one of the big concerns with big tech right now is the idea of censorship. Again, if somebody files a complaint against you, you'll get yourself put in Facebook jail, or you'll get your post knocked off YouTube. YouTube constantly sends us alerts that we're in copyright violations, even though we have CCLI. YouTube doesn't care. Somebody will go online. People literally make it their business to just go online. Listen, if you're playing a song that they somehow think they could lay claim to, then they'll file a copyright violation claim against you. All it does for YouTube, at least where we're at, what we're doing, is they just tell us, oh, you can't monetize your video. Well, we weren't monetizing it anyway. That's not the point. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this to get the word and spread and sent out there. Facebook, they'll mute your music sometimes. Doesn't affect the live broadcast. It's only afterwards that'll happen. So if you got members who are at home listening to the service live, they're not going to see an interrupted stream on that unless something happens physically during the stream. But because of that, some alternative sites, Rumble is one of those. There's a bunch of others starting to pop up now. Rumble's probably the next bigger one that a lot of people are posting stuff to. And then Twitch. Twitch is kind of a weird one. We actually use Twitch. Has anybody heard of Twitch? Yeah. Okay.
I stream on Twitch.
Okay. All right. I'll be honest with you. Twitch is the easiest platform to stream to, by far. Like 2 clicks and we're online. You don't do nothing. You just put in your stream key and you're on Twitch. That's how it works. Twitch is owned by Amazon. I didn't know that till I did some checking. Twitch owned by Amazon is primarily a video game streaming platform. So if you know anybody who's a gamer, they're on Twitch. And so it's just kind of a, hey, what the heck? We're going to put it on Twitch. And so we're now on Twitch, which is kind of cool because our pastor's son, Pastor Rich, his son is big into video gaming, and Rich is something, yeah, he's like, you're on Twitch? I'm like, yeah, we're cool now. Because we're on Twitch. But yeah, so there's other things out there, other sources you can get to. But again, the big two, Facebook and YouTube, is the ones that most everybody does.
But if you're on Twitch, can anybody see it, or do they have to be a Twitch?
Nope,
user?
anybody can see it. Yep.
I'm like thinking of Facebook. How do you connect Facebook to Twitch?
So, well, we'll talk about that here in a second. We actually are streaming to all three at the exact same time. So they're not interlinked between each other. We're controlling that on the back end. So
We
on
don't
our
stream,
side.
We upload later.
Yep. So if you want to stream, what do you have to stream? Well, first thing, you need a camera. Guess what? You have a smartphone, you have a camera, and you can stream your service. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law up in Iowa, they attended church, and the pastor, and they're probably running 100 plus on a given Sunday. And I was surprised but this is their process. The pastor gets up, welcome everybody, pulls his phone out, sets it up on a little stand, and hits start. And it says, greetings to everybody online, and then does the service right there. And then right before the invitation time, he hits stop, phone down, invitation to closing the service. So if you have a phone, you could stream live right then and there, just using your phone. If you want to get a little more advanced, you go with an IP camera. The wonderful world of Amazon. You can pick those up cheap. That's what we do at our church. We actually have a surveillance camera. Part of my work, I'm a locksmith. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm a locksmith. We do everything from the bank vault to the car door and everything in between. And so I just got a cheap IP camera. We linked it in, and that's what we use at our church for streaming. We have different camera views, all off the one camera, wide angle, and we can zoom in on sections through the software. So that's if you want to get a little more advanced with things, you can. Need a microphone? Again, if you got your phone, you've got a microphone. It's all in one. If you've got your sound system, you have a microphone. You can feed most of your sound mixers have an output. You can output to a line level, feed it into your computer that's running the streaming service, and you can be online with that. And you're going to need a web browser. I say Chrome-based. Emphasis on that because it's kind of universal, works on all the platforms. I apologize to anybody that's a Mac user. I apologize for one that you're a Mac user. Two. I knew there was somebody. Mac was big in the arts and the media side of things. The Windows world, the Android world is catching up. And so Chrome is going to get you access to just about everything on that. An alternative, so you got Chrome, obviously. You got Edge, which is the internet, used to be Internet Explorer, and I don't know, you could get worse than Internet Explorer, but they successfully did. With Edge, they did. Regrettably, there's certain websites for work I have to use Edge, and I hate it. There's some websites I have to use Internet Explorer, so I still run Internet Explorer too. But some alternatives to that, you got Mozilla, Firefox. If you're using Google Chrome, guess what Google's doing? They're watching everything you do, and just came out that the incognito mode that Chrome supports, it's incognito for you, and it ain't for them. They're still watching it, so they're still watching everything you look at on that. So I utilize Brave. It's a free browser. It's based on Chrome. Chromium is the engine behind all the web browsers that are using Chrome-based. Brave. Brave was founded by one of the previous partners with Firefox. He got his information leaked, which kind of really opened his eyes, I guess, to a lot of privacy stuff. He had donated money to the proposition in California that was putting on the ballot no same-sex marriage. And he had donated to that movement, and that information got leaked out, and everybody targeted him, and so he ended up being fired from Firefox, Mozilla, and then started his own thing. And so Brave is that product. It is based on the idea of privacy. You don't have the ads quite the same way you do. It has an ad system, but it's not the same on that. And then even has its own like kind of cryptocurrency link to it on that. But obviously you got Chrome, if it's Chrome based. Those are going to get you access again to about anywhere. And Brave is on Windows, Apple products, Mac products, iOS, and Android as well. Streaming, if you really want to have a lot of fun with streaming, get OBS. It's free. There's a learning curve to it, but I liken it to PowerPoint for video streaming. You can create scenes within it. You can add. So right now, I'm mirroring that screen, recording off that microphone. I can switch this so that it actually shows now the camera off of the laptop. I could actually bring in a camera that would be remotely mounted somewhere else. And I can all do that all through the software. It just adds a little more versatility and kind of a professional feel to it, because again, not that you have to have it, but again, we're called to do everything to the best that we can. It's for Jesus, so that's what we want to do it for. And so it kind of allows that next step up. And you ask, how do we stream to everything? So we have some plugins that we plug straight into OBS that then we click one button and then it actually streams out all three sites at the same time. So tons of stuff. There's YouTube videos on how to play with it. I don't know anywhere near the amount of stuff that's available for it. There's numerous plugins to make it do all kinds of crazy stuff. So, ethical concerns. So, what's your purpose? First, what's your purpose as a church? What are you there for? And that's the question. Matthew 28:18-20 says, Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. We all know the verse, right? What's the key there? Go and make disciples. And a better translation, as you go, make disciples. The video that I showed up front there, so how beautiful are the feet? Feet sometimes are feet standing on a doorstep. Feet are sometimes driving in a car. Sometimes feet are digital feet that come across the internet. That should be our goal in everything we do, is how is this making disciples? Not just getting somebody to walk in the door, getting them baptized, getting them a name on a list, and cool, check a box, and off they go. No, it's actually discipleship. And how are you utilizing this tool to do that? And that should be your goal as a church. And second, for wanting to stream. Again, does it fit with your purpose as a church? Does it fit with is it enabling or enhancing the Great Commission? Is it just because somebody else down the road does it? You want to be cool? Then that's not for you. It's not for that. Again, what is your purpose in that? Once you answer that, then go for it. Legal. So you are potentially streaming stuff that is copyrighted, and so you need to make sure you're taking advantage of that. The necessary legal precautions on that. If it's copyrighted, well, let me back up. If you are just streaming the sermon, you're good. There's no music attached to it. It's just the pastor talking. There's nothing you have to worry about. You're good. You go to Facebook jail when the pastor says something you shouldn't say. No big deal. Don't worry about that. But once you add music into it, then you run into the CCLI. That's where you're going to have to go check it out. Just because you have CCLI that allows you to make copies does not give you the ability to stream music. There's a secondary license that has to be added onto that. No, you cannot just buy that one. You have to buy them both, because we don't make copies. We only stream. Well, no, we have to have them both. So we're good. And then you're going to have the reporting requirements come with CCLI. If you don't have CCLI already, it's not terrible. So that's available. Also, for our church, we do not put lyrics up on the screen. We have a screen. and we put like the song name and number on the screen, but we don't actually put the lyrics on the screen. The moment we put those lyrics on the screen, that adds another level of things we have to do. We can, and it's possible, but if you notice, right before every song pops up there, you saw a little bar at the bottom of the screen that popped up. That's telling you the name of the song, the publisher, and then you're going to see Union Hill's CCLI license number. That has to be on every song, or it has to pop up on a screen at the end that says all the songs, all the information, and your CCLI license. If you're streaming the lyrics online, you got to have that for sure, okay? If you don't want to have to worry with that, just don't, you can make sure that that's not on the screen when it's when you're broadcasting a stream on that. So
is that different if you're just singing the song without post, because we don't post the music on.
right, if you're just singing, you should have the CCLI streaming license, because you are truly broadcasting copyrighted information at that point. Because now it's public performance, as opposed to before you were just doing a private. It's considered a private performance in the church. And the reason being, if you think about it, especially if you're using hymnals, you buy a hymnal. How many hymnals do you have? Well, one for every other person, probably thereabouts. So you've paid, every time you bought that hymnal, built into the cost of that hymnal is the payment for the licensing for all the songs in that hymnal. So then whoever holds the copyright of that song, they receive a portion of that, okay? Once you stream that online, you just open it up. How many people are now accessing that hymnal? Untold number. And so because of that, that's why you have to have that extra license. There's remuneration that goes back to the copyright holders on that. Don't muzzle the ox on that one, okay? Respect that. I mean, if you're benefiting from somebody's hard work and creativity, so make sure that you're taking care of the proper legal precautions on that. The last question here is just because you can, should you? So evaluate your why. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you always should. You have the second page there. This is our church's social media policy. I'm not saying it's the greatest social media policy ever. If we had AI, I would have just had AI write this for me, but we didn't when we wrote it. I spent hours perusing other churches and insurance companies and lawyer sites, and AI would have just done this in, 30 seconds from what we watched. Be proactive with your stuff on social media. I know of a situation in a church that a pastor posted on his private page, okay, a politically directed post. I may not even disagree with what he said, but in doing so, it caused such an uproar in the community that the church was targeted. The church was receiving threats. He was receiving threats. He ended up falling on his sword, basically, and resigning from the church to spare the church the harassment. It messed up his career. I believe he's a pastor somewhere else now. But it messed up his career, messed up the church's reputation, because they got known as that church, So be careful what you post online. Read through this. Again, some of this stuff may not pertain to you. Some of the stuff you're like, why would you put that on there? But again, understand your purpose. One of the things we put on there is memes. Those little picture things, little funny phrases that everybody likes to collect and share on Facebook. Memes or other similar content should be refrained from being posted on the main church page. That's not what the church page is about. It's not about funny things, right? So be careful with that. Likewise, what do we put on here? All posts should be family friendly, even in the context of a biblical setting. Guys, if you read the Bible, you should read the Bible. There's some R-rated stuff in there. Plus, okay, there's certain things, certain verses you probably shouldn't be posting on Facebook. Okay, that's just not gonna. Likewise, political message. The church needs to be a force for good, a force for change, even in the political realm. However, is your Facebook page the place to have those political discussions? I'm going to say no. Maybe your church, you say yes, but I'm going to say no. That's not the place to deal with that. So, again, that's that just because you should, or you can, should you do that? So just, think about, again, the why you're doing it in that. Social media pause there. Other discipleship tools. We have the technology available, so we can use it. YouVersion, the Bible app. I think it's the #1 Bible app out there. most people that have it where they realize that that's the one they've got or not, because it just shows up in your apps list as Bible. It's great. I like the ability to go through and pick different translations and read them. One of my favorite ones is some of the ones that are, I think the Tree of Life is one of the versions, but it keeps a Hebrew flair to it. So like all the names stay in their anglicized Hebrew, transliterated Hebrew. So when you're reading, you actually get to see the names and the places as it would be. It's kind of fun to look at. YouVersion, by the way, if you want a church app or a church website, YouVersion allows you to link into them for free. I don't know all the entails, I just know that is the case. It's a ministry of Life.Church, which is a large multi-site, multi-campus church organization. BLB, Blue Letter Bible app. It is basically kind of combines Strong's Concordance, digitizes it, links it in, so you can see the Greek, the Hebrew, when you're reading your verses in your Bible, and an interlinear search on that. Bible Project, that's who created that first video up there. They started off as a Bible animation studio, animating short, informative videos about the Bible. They have now moved to, they now have master's level seminary classes, and everything they do is free. So if you have some of your church that says, man, I'd really like to get some seminary education, but I don't have the time, or I don't have the cost, hook up Bible Project Classroom. Just amazing the resources that are available. Podcast, man, you're going to go down some just mind-blowing stuff. You start to see some of the interconnections in the Bible and that. So, again, all free. It's crowdfunded. So check them out. Logos, I know Pastor Rich is doing a class on Logos coming up pretty soon. It is a free app on your phone. And he said, version 10 is free for your computer as well. Even if that's all you do is have the basic phone app, a ton of resources on there, biblical word searches, access to a lot of commentaries that are free in general. And then sometimes they'll send you a link that says, hey, this book is on sale right now for free. And once you add it to your library, it's now part of your library. And then a cool thing that I found out about Logos, Rich was telling me that if he scans an ISBN number of a book, then Logos, if it's in their category, in their catalog, they import that link it to you. You don't get access to the book, but it's there. And if you're doing a search for something, that book will be searched when you search for whatever it is. And if it has something pertaining to it, it will tell you then the page, the paragraph where that's at. So it's kind of cool. That's an AI deal that they've integrated in. Online meetings, because we're Baptists, we love meetings. We literally have a committee on committees at the state and national level. Isn't that crazy? But online meetings, there's Zoom. An alternative to Zoom is Brave. They have their own version. Zoom, you're limited to 45 minutes for the free version. Brave, you're limited to 4 people for the free version. No limit on time. I'm sure there's a limit on time, but no limit on the time for the Brave. There's a limit on the time with Zoom. Brave is $7 a month if you want to go that. That's what Cedar Crest, 3/4 of our meetings are now done by Brave. So it's about half the cost of Zoom on that. Cost-saving tools, free software. Microsoft Office is stupid expensive now, but you can get LibreOffice. It's a free office alternative. Google, as we talked about, there's tons of things with Google. You got your office tools, Google Docs, online cloud-based storage with that, Google Voice, that kind of stuff. So it's all out there available. You can do slideshows on Google. That one's a little weird. I'm just going to say I don't like that. It doesn't work as well. This slideshow is put together with LibreOffice's PowerPoint, whatever it's called, Impress, I think maybe, something like that. Google Slides is a little wonky. It doesn't always play well with others on that. But yeah, you got your documents, your spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff. And it's all starting to get integrated with AI. Warning with Google, everything you put on Google, Google's going to read, just so you know. Know that. Cloud storage, you got Google Drive. Microsoft OneDrive now comes with Windows. It bothers you if you install a new one. It's going to ask you over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Sign in. No, I don't want to do that. We have started utilizing, again, moving away from big tech, Koofer. It's a weird name. It actually is a completely made-up word based on the creators of it, Koofr. It's, again, a European-based company for file storage. We utilize them for all of our documents for church now. The cool thing is it has a folder, sync folder, so Pastor Rich does a sermon slideshow, drops into the folder on his laptop. and then every so many minutes the folder on the other computers sync, and boom, there's the slideshow for that Sunday. Nobody has to transfer over, it's there, which is nice. And then if it's edited there, it's edited on his end, and so on and so forth. Need a new computer? You don't have to buy new. And refurbished, they're great. You can pick up a little mini PC about yay big for less than $100. It's going to come with a keyboard and a mouse and a computer. You'll probably throw the keyboard and the mouse away because there's a reason they were free. They're junk, or give them to a kid to play with and they can type on it. Newegg.com, another place for hardware. The association had some free laptops there for a bit. I'm sure they're all gone. That was from a few years ago. But Veterans United, when they upgraded all their stuff, they had a stack of, actually this is one right here, laptops. And it was one of those Ask Preston, tell them how many you want. I think we got 5 at our church. And we utilize them for Sunday school teachers and things like that. Like every Sunday, I stream a Sunday school class to Twitch. So if you go to our Twitch page, you can go to Sunday school with me. Big thing is use what you already have. You probably have, you got a phone in your pocket that does almost everything that you want to do right there. And then the other one is you probably got some in your church that can do this stuff. Just find out, talk around. Maybe they're going to be shy and not going to volunteer to do it, but, figure out what people do, even professionally or as a hobby. And, like, hey, you like to do this? Oh, cool. And I use Josh Sewell as an example there. Josh was not hired by Centennial necessarily for his technological know-how. He was hired because they needed the administrative assistant, the secretary. But because of his skill set and his knowledge, then they're able to plug him in and utilize that. So, any questions? I know we're blazing through here.
I can get people to volunteer.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Uh,
There's a reason that I wear the hats that I wear.
I keep telling them, I said, you can click your phone, you can click the slide. I'm so scared to do that.
This will be posted, that's the web link there, or you can go to the Union Baptist Church YouTube channel, and it'll be hosted underneath